Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the internet. How it used to feel like a place, right? I mean, you sit at a desk, turn on this hulking desktop family computer, and log in. Sure, it was slow and it had an enormous physical presence, but I mean, if anything, the whole experience felt very physical. You'd have floppy disks, CDs, hard drives, things you could touch, and it held your digital world. It felt contained. Now, the internet isn't really a place you visit, it's something you live inside of. It's in your pocket, your car, your wristwatch, and for some people, it's even in their fridges. It's ambient. It's always there. It's ever present. And in a way, it kind of feels like background noise because when something is everywhere, you might argue that it's also nowhere. It just fades into our daily lives and just something to pass the time, and we do kind of take it for granted. And let's not kid ourselves here. It is a gift to have accessibility 24/7. I mean, you can learn almost anything, find almost anyone, and share literally everything you want. But again, it feels like we're taking the internet for granted. All the stuff you've made, all the stuff that I've made, photos I've posted, videos I've uploaded, memories, jokes, obsessions I've had since I'm 12 years old, the communities that I've been a part of and that you've been a part of on various subreddits or Tumblr communities, passions that you maybe have found and developed further. It's all us. It's all you. It's all me. But here's the thing. It doesn't really live with you. It doesn't really live with me. It lives on something. Platforms that aren't yours and that really aren't mine either. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, MySpace, Snapchat, etc. These places aren't ours. At best, we're borrowing them, and even your private saved posts, the things you collect, like saving for later, for example, those aren't truly saved. They exist at the mercy of terms and conditions that we did not write. Likes and bookmarks shouldn't be considered archives. At the very best, they're traces, faint ones at that, of our digital footprint for a certain amount of time on a certain date in the year. It's nothing. It's browser history. Now, don't worry. This isn't another big tech is evil rant. We've heard it, it's been done, and it is important, but that's not the angle. What I'm talking about is something a little different. The responsibility of archiving. To me, this is personal, cultural, and honestly, even existential. The need to physically preserve the digital content you've made, found, or shared is primordial to our collective culture as a species. Because if you don't, or I don't, who will? And if nobody does, then what's really left of us? This isn't just about nostalgia or aesthetics, it's about anthropology. It's about the future. We dig up civilizations based on what was carved into stone, what was painted on pottery, and what they buried with their dead. That's what archaeologists usually do. So what are we leaving behind as our generation? Right? If we're not printing, saving, or burning to disks, then what will archaeologists find in 1,000 years? We need to back things up. We need to make copies. Digital culture is still culture. The memes, the videos, the photos, the digital art, the flash games from Newgrounds or Miniclip, the mixtapes on YouTube, the playlists that were made on Spotify, and the comment threads everywhere. They're not trivial, they're evidence. They're history. They reflect values, anxieties, desires, and creativity on other facets of the human experience. If we treat them as simply disposable, then I think we're saying something terrifying about what we are. That perhaps we are just disposable, and that our stories don't deserve preservation unless they're profitable or trending. Having physical media should be a commitment. So you should print that photo. You should burn the video to a disc, or that track you love before it vanishes behind a paywall or a takedown. Because if it's not in your hands, then I don't really think it's real. I don't think anyone should think it's real. In platforms they can change at any time, overnight. Tumblr did it, for example. They purged entire categories of content in a single night. Communities, cultures, identities, gone. And look, whether or not you like what was on there, that's not the point. The point is who gets to decide what gets remembered. If we leave the memory of our culture up to the platforms, then we're gambling with who gets written into history. We're letting algorithms decide what's worthy of remembering, and that could be dangerous. So yeah, not to shamelessly plug the title again of this thing and project that I'm trying to build, but you should be archiving this void known as the internet. Make the intangible tangible. Build your own time capsule. Not to hoard, but to honor. Because someday someone might look back and say, oh, this is the world they lived in. And this is the world they saved. This is what they found important, and this is what they created. And I want them to find you. You should want them to find you. Not just the echo of your presence, but the evidence you left behind. Materiality of culture matters. Your ancestors put their beliefs onto temples and painted their myths on cave walls, told stories on stained glass. Those things survive because they were made of something. Stone, clay, wood, parchment, etc. Even celluloid film. At least you could hold it up to light. But what are we making our stories out of now? If we leave the memory of our culture up to the platforms, then we're gambling with who gets written into history. We're letting algorithms decide what's worthy of remembering, and that could be dangerous. You should be archiving this void known as the internet. Make the intangible tangible. Build your own time capsule. Not to hoard, but to honor. Because someday someone might look back and say, oh, this is the world they lived in. And this is the world they saved. This is what they found important, and this is what they created. And I want them to find you. You should want them to find you. Not just the echo of your presence, but the evidence you left behind. Materiality of culture matters. Your ancestors put their beliefs onto temples and painted their myths on cave walls, told stories on stained glass. Those things survive because they were made of something. Stone, clay, wood, parchment, etc. Even celluloid film. At least you could hold it up to light. But what are we making our stories out of now? Flash memory? Cloud storage? Look, server clusters in an undisclosed location owned by companies, clearly that's not the way to do it. We've been conditioned to believe that the internet is eternal, but that is just simply not the case. That once something is online, it's there forever. But the truth is, and ask any archivist, it really isn't. The internet should not be considered a library. It's not an archive. It's simply a stream. And if you don't pull something out of it and keep it for yourself, it flows on, and eventually it might just be gone forever. We saw this with Vine, with early YouTube videos that got DMCA'd into oblivion, and also with the Tumblr purge. With MySpace, for example, it literally lost over 50 million audio files during a botched server migration. Think about it. Entire micro histories, small but important, of local bands, early influencers, artists, and kids experimenting with sound, all erased like someone lit a match in a server room with no backups, no copies, and just completely gone. Now imagine if that was the only version that ever existed. So if you're an artist, a writer, a meme maker, a TikTok editor, or just a really good shit poster, this is about you, truly. You're contributing to the digital culture. You're contributing to this landscape online. You're shaping it. But if your only copy exists on a third-party platform, you're gambling with your legacy. That viral tweet you made, you should probably screenshot and print it. The Zine you made, you should also probably print that. The mashup you uploaded to SoundCloud, burn it on a CD. Don't just trust platforms to value what you've made. They really don't. They value engagement, and engagement changes with time. What's viral today might be banned tomorrow. One should also consider that archiving is about framing. When you save something or when you store it somewhere you control, you're preserving it, you're curating it. You're saying this matters. You're creating a version of cultural history that reflects your tastes, your experiences, and your world. That's anthropology. That's what future historians will need when they ask, what was it like to live in the algorithmic age? And let's not forget, a screenshot is not a file. A like is not a record. Your saved folder on TikTok isn't an archive. It only exists as long as the platform allows it to. And the second it decides it's not profitable or acceptable or compatible with their back-end update, it might cease to exist. You should never give away the only version of what you have to the internet. Keep the true version and create and upload copies of it. Become emotionally invested in the ownership of your stuff and think about what it means on a cultural level. What you have created has been, whether you like it or not, or whether you think about it at all, is the direct result of real influences you and I have had and what we have been exposed to and experienced all throughout our lives. Whether it's art, videos, comments on meme pages, on TikTok, anything really is influenced by prior experiences and what has already been seen, whether it's in the digital world or in the real world. We build on what was. You build on what was. This happens even in school, in math class, or in any language class. You're building on pre-existing rules and pre-existing ideas in order to learn more, in order to grow as a person. With this in mind, to hold something in your hand, a printout of your blog post, a DVD of your short film, a stack of zines you designed in high school, that's to say, this is mine. I made this. It existed, it exists, and it will continue to exist. You have to return to that. We, as an entire species, need to return to this. Because right now, we're building a civilization on the shakiest foundation imaginable. Subscription services and cloud syncs and cloud-based servers with infrastructure built by private corporations working hand in hand with governments. And if a new law states that the internet is banned, or if it's downright impossible to upkeep, then it might just be gone. It's only infrastructure. For example, imagine uploading something 10 years ago, and now you can't access it anymore because of region locks, expired licenses, or account deactivations that you never agreed to. Hell, even just a platform going dark forever. Imagine you're a photographer who doesn't have high-res copies of their images because they relied too much on Flickr or Facebook as their main cloud. And then there's this other layer to it all, ghosts. And I do mean that literally. Dead profiles, abandoned pages, frozen timelines from people who just never came back. Maybe they forgot their password. Maybe they moved on. Maybe they passed away. Whatever the reason, they're just still there, stagnant, still online, still holding content, still whispering quietly from some forgotten corner of the web. And these profiles aren't mine. They're not yours, but they are ours in a strange collective memory kind of way. They're snapshots of moments in time, unfiltered, unarchived, unprotected. Think about it. A MySpace page full of old demos from a band you never heard of, or a broken photo bucket link, a Flickr account with 24 photos of a now demolished mall, a Facebook timeline that ends the day Farmville shut down and stopped working. There's something profound about that, something kind of haunting, to be honest. But the scarier part about all of this is that this will eventually all go away. Nothing online is truly forever. Old servers get decommissioned. Platforms completely rebrand. Files can get corrupted. Links can rot. And when that happens, those pages, those people, and those micro-histories, gone. No warning, no archive, just complete silence. That's why I think you should go looking for them. And I do really mean that. Be a digital archaeologist. Become one. Get your hands dirty. Search up old usernames. Dig through web archives. Type half-remembered blog names into Google and see what pops up, because you'll be amazed at what can still linger. Forgotten YouTube channels from kids who wanted to be YouTubers in 2007. Deviant art accounts frozen in teenage angst, and Twitter feeds that cut off in 2015 like someone left mid-sentence. It's all still out there. For now, though. And in my personal opinion, there's kind of a sacred duty in bearing witness to all this, because in my mind, they're not just profiles, they're digital ruins. They're evidence that someone was there. They had thoughts, jokes, playlists, opinions, dreams, and yeah, maybe it's cringy or low-res or over-filtered, but that was history, messy, unpolished, and completely human. So save what matters. Don't repost it to mock, preserve it to remember. Because one day, that little Tumblr blog from 2010 might be more revealing than any academic paper on early 21st century culture. And when it's gone, it will be gone. Approach our personal digital history in a way that museums approach an exhibit. Not everything needs to be framed and hung, but it deserves to be kept somewhere, in some format. This is not just saving data, but resisting disappearance. Refusing to let your lives, your art, your content, and your thoughts dissolve into the void because we were too busy or too trusting or too distracted to pull them out of the stream that is the internet. Now, I don't want to sound pessimistic at all, and I hope I'm not coming across as that, but this is instead just more of a call to action. Every one of us is already kind of an archivist when you think about it, because the memes you've saved or the screenshots you've also taken and the folders of cursed images you might have on your phone, or maybe that's just me, that is technically the beginning of an archive. You are the curator. You simply need to start making what was intangible digitally tangible. Print it, save it, make copies, burn it on a disk, burn it on hard drives, and do it all over again. Digital archaeology doesn't need to be only about nostalgia or what you miss about being online when you were younger. It's more about presence. Tracing what you were through what was left behind when you were younger, or what your friends were like when they were younger online. And the best part is, anyone can really do it. You don't need a degree, just curiosity and care and appreciation for what was and what is and what's going to be coming up in the world of the internet. So you should go search and wander and dig and have fun with it. The internet is kind of a decaying archive in real time, and the clock is ticking. You might not know what you're looking for until you find it. So I say this once again: print the photos, rip the videos, save the MP3s, and burn the discs, write the designs. Make the mixtapes. Back it up, label it, store it, and above all, have it for yourself. Create copies for yourself. Because if you don't, someday, someone will come looking for what we were, and all they might find is a silent, silent void. And I think we deserve better than that, don't you?